Lifeguards fear stricter public pool closure guidelines for adverse weather may cause more friction with swimmers. Police arrest 125 people over construction site's lunchbox racket. Hello and welcome to TVB News. Following a recent lightning strike at a public swimming pool in Sha Tin, the Leisure and Cultural Services Department revised pool guidelines, clarifying conditions that would trigger temporary closures of outdoor public swimming pools. A lawmaker suggests the government step up notification services on the official IM Smart app. In mid-June, a diving platform at the Sha Tin Jockey Club swimming pool was struck by lightning, leaving visible damage. In the past, there were no rigid criteria on when pool operations should be suspended amid unstable weather. On-site managers were given the discretionary powers based on their experience and observations on the spot. As the saga renewed scrutiny of safety protocols during adverse weather, the Leisure and Cultural Services Department now spells out conditions under which the outdoor pool should be off-limits. Under the revised guidelines, if the observatory issues a localized thunderstorm warning for that area, any outdoor swimming facilities within the district will be closed immediately. In the case of a territory-wide thunderstorm warning, closures will be mandated if these three conditions are met. The observatory's lightning alert system records lightning within a 10-kilometer radius of the pool if an amber rainstorm warning or higher is in effect, or if lightning or frequent thunder is observed near the pool. The government says notices will be displayed at pool entrances when outdoor facilities are suspended. A lifeguard union says despite more clarity given, they are worried if that would entail more friction with swimmers when enforcing the stricter closure protocols. Lawmaker Ken Lee meanwhile hopes the government can step up its notification mechanism in the official IM Smart app with relevant weather updates to facilitate the closure announcement to the public. The government and the Mandatory Provident Fund Schemes Authority propose amending the Mandatory Provident Fund Schemes Ordinance to strengthen the punishment mechanism for employers who fail to pay wages on time. This as some lawmakers in the labor sector believe the measure should be harsher to increase its deterrence factor. Timothy Lee reports.
Currently, employers are responsible for making monthly MPF contributions for eligible employees. This as the Mandatory Provident Fund Schemes Authority, or MPFA, issues an average of 31,000 payment notices each month to employers who miss MPF deadlines, with only 16% of them being paid within the subsequent 2 weeks. Under the current ordinance, such employers will pay surcharges amounting to 5% of the outstanding payment regardless of how long they've missed the deadline. Earlier, the government and the MPFA proposed amending the Mandatory Provident Fund Schemes Ordinance to increase the surcharges for outstanding payments. The proposal called for surcharges to be raised to 10% of the outstanding payments if employers fail to pay up within 120 days, with the total amount said to be transferred to the employee's account. The MPFA will also be able to issue payment notices to employers suspected of outstanding payments and demand the latter to submit information on the employee's income in less than 2 weeks. Offenders may be liable to a maximum fine of $50,000. Addressing the proposal at the Legislative Council's panel on financial affairs, some lawmakers believe the measure's deterrence factor remains lacking. Lawmaker Ken Lee from the Labor Functional Constituency questioned if the punishment mechanism would strengthen its tier system to target employers who deliberately delay payments. Undersecretary for Financial Services and the Treasury, Joseph Chan, stressed additional tiers could potentially diminish the mechanism's effects, while emphasizing that offenders are already liable to criminal prosecution. Authorities are set to submit the proposal to LegCo during the fourth quarter of this year. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Police arrest 125 people after smashing an unlicensed food factory syndicate and 4 illegal gambling establishments. The suspects include the syndicate's head and core members. It is estimated that the group's annual profit from their operation making lunchboxes for construction sites reaches $12 million. To gather intelligence, the police disguised as catering suppliers in Sao Mau Ping. Officers were threatened by syndicate members and blackmailed for $70,000. After investigation, the police found that the syndicate controlled 6 residential catering businesses in Saikong and Saomaoping. The group would expel other suppliers through blackmailing, arson, and criminal damage. Meanwhile, the police also discovered the syndicate had been operating illicit gambling sites in West Kowloon. Protesters are already making their grievances heard as the Turkish capital of Ankara heightens security ahead of the summit of NATO leaders. U.S. President Donald Trump is expected to enforce spending promise from European countries. Gloria Feng has more.
A group of protesters from the Turkish leftist People's Liberation Party gathered downtown Ankara, waving banners and chanting "Murderer, NATO, get out of our country," as they were corralled by police with shields. This as security tightens across the Turkish capital in anticipation of hosting global heads of states and government, including U.S. President Donald Trump, who will be arriving for the summit scheduled for July 7th and 8th. This latest round of NATO summit will see Trump keen to enforce the spending pledge of 5% of GDP by NATO members. The alliance had largely acceded to his demands to step up their military spending last year. In the days leading up to his trip to Turkey, Trump had been airing out his grievances on social media about how much more his country is spending on defense compared to other nations without getting any benefit from doing so. This comes after NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte had tried to pacify the U.S. president with a meeting at the Oval Office last month by showing him how much allies had boosted their spending commitments, reaching levels of what he called the Trump trillion. Still, relationships between Trump and various NATO nations remain thorny, particularly as the alliance deals with the war in Ukraine. Trump is expected to engage in bilateral talks with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, centered on the issue of fighter jets, which can have repercussions on the Russian-Ukraine conflict.
Turkey wants to buy these F-35 fighter jets that the U.S. possesses, but Turkey has a separate Russian missile defense system that the U.S. is worried about, basically that the information about the F-35 jets' capabilities could make its way back to Russia because Turkey has this Russian missile system. And this has been a very contentious factor in the U.S. and Turkey relationship. It is a very important issue for Turkey's defense economy, for President Erdogan personally. President Trump hinted that he could be coming with a gift for President Erdogan in Ankara at the summit.
Gloria Feng, TVB News.
The death toll from Venezuela's devastating earthquake continues to rise, with thousands still missing. Venezuela's authorities report the death toll from the quake rose to 3,342, with another 16,740 people injured. The strength of the earthquakes left little time for residents to escape, but survivors still managed to help one another. A 16-year-old boy was severely injured and had to have a foot amputated, but he still succeeded in getting his mother and a neighbor out of the rubble. Pediatricians note the emotional toll of what children have to deal with is one of the toughest challenges. There are no official statistics on the number of those missing, but according to a website set up by the Venezuelan opposition, more than 30,000 are still unaccounted for. Welcome back. Foreign Minister Wang Yi met with his Finnish counterpart on Sunday during the Finland leg of his visit to the Scandinavian countries. During Wang's meeting with Finland's Foreign Minister Elina Valtonen in Helsinki, he said China is ready to work with Finland to implement the joint action plan between the two countries, expand trade and investment, and broaden cooperation in areas like green transition, scientific innovation, and artificial intelligence. He also expressed hope that Finland will play an active role in promoting the sound and steady development of China-Europe relations. Valtonen said Finland has consistently adhered to the One China policy and will further tap the potential for cooperation with China in green and low-carbon development, trade and investment, healthcare, and digital economy. China's Navy test launches a long-range ballistic missile from one of its nuclear-powered submarines in the South Pacific in a rare move that is drawing protests and concerns from countries in the region. The missile was launched at 12:01 p.m. and carried a dummy warhead, according to the official Xinhua news agency. The New Zealand government in a statement notes the missile was fired into the South Pacific Nuclear Free Zone. Australia's Foreign Minister Penny Wong tells reporters her country has made clear to China the actions are destabilizing to the region. Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Minoru Kihara says they had conveyed serious concern about China's increasing military activity. At a regular press briefing, Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Mao Ning says the exercise was a routine military arrangement not directed at any specific country or target and was conducted in accordance with international law, following all safety standards and professional procedures. Russia launched waves of missiles and drones targeting Kyiv overnight into Monday that killed at least 15 people. The capital's officials say another 24 were injured. The attack involved waves of ballistic and cruise missiles as well as drones. Explosions echoed across the city as civilians sought shelter in metro stations. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky had warned hours earlier of a large-scale attack on the city. Monday's attack comes days after a combined Russian attack killed at least 31 people in Kyiv last week. More than 1,000 UK schools closed for days or sent children home early last month during the thick of the heat wave. A British government climate advisory group says adapting to the new norm can take decades, proposing a 25-year timeline for installing air conditioning in older buildings. For now, students and faculty turn to low-tech, low-budget alternatives in their feeble attempts to beat the heat as they ready for a second wave of high temperatures. Gloria Feng has more.
Public schools across the UK are turning to low-tech solutions to beat the scorching summer heat. Students blast mini handheld fans, take popsicle breaks between classes, and even dip their toes in buckets of cold water. Some 10,000 schools have had to close or cut days short to deal with the excruciating heat inside dated buildings where air conditioning is uncommon and structures are built to keep warm air in during winter. Experts say school closures expose how unprepared Britain is in coping with what climate scientists call a new normal of more intense and regular heat waves. But it's not just older buildings. Head teacher at Beaconsfield Primary School, Dave Woods, says builders did not factor in climate change when building the new wing of his West London school.
You would have thought in 2017 there would have been more thinking ahead because we already knew about changes to climate, changes to global temperatures, and what we will have to do to continue with this building, because its lifespan is over 50 years, we will have to make retrofitting adaptations so that we can continue to use it all the time during the summer months.
The government's climate advisors recommend installing air conditioning in vulnerable buildings such as schools, hospitals, and care homes to combat climate change effects. Woods is considering installing air conditioning in at least parts of the campus. But money is tight, he explains, and the school gets just £7,000 a year for repairs. The Climate Change Committee, an independent official group advising the government, warns without adaptation, schools will likely suffer more days per year where indoor temperatures hit 35 degrees Celsius or above. But students will likely have to suffer the heat for generations more. The advisory says air conditioning should be installed within the next 25 years, ideally with low-carbon systems such as heat pumps that can both heat and cool. Gloria Feng, TVB News.
Hong Kong sees at least 60 students seize top scores on IB result day. Medicine as a subject and overseas universities remain popular choices for many students. Mimosa Ngai reports.
At Victoria Shanghai Academy, 9 students scored 45 marks in IB this year, a record high number of top scorers for the school. One student, who is opting for Hong Kong University's medicine, says his personal experience has shaped his decision.
Ever since I was born, I was going in and out of hospitals quite a lot. It really sparked my interest in the field as well as learning why I'm different to everyone else, and also become a doctor in the urology specialty.
St. Stephen's College in Stanley also has 5 perfect scorers. Over to DBS, where 5 students became top scorers, the school says the average result for its IB students is 42.6. Unlike other perfect scorers, Jordan Wong is the only one from the school who plans to pursue his degree in Hong Kong. Explaining his reasons, the incoming global business undergraduate points out Hong Kong offers an ideal environment for the field.
I wanted to specifically pick this one over a lot of other degrees for the reason that it enables you to have a global perspective. And at the end, you also still stay in Hong Kong. Hong Kong has a lot of potential. Number one in I think, wealth management.
Other DBS top performers include Adrian Lee, a pending law student at Oxford University, and Lucas Chavez, an engineering student ready to head to Cambridge. For Chavez, choosing the UK for higher degree education is not all about academics, but his passion for Formula One.
I'm an enjoyer of F1, so there are a lot of F1 factories in the UK, and I hope to broaden my horizons by hopefully getting to see a few of them in the future.
While the deadline for IB students to confirm their university choices are different depending on their institutions, those who wish to study in Hong Kong must submit their decision around mid-August. Memos 9, TVB News.
A registered doctor suspected of issuing bogus vaccination exemption certificates during the COVID-19 pandemic has been charged with several counts of accessing a computer with dishonest intent and money laundering. The trial commences at the district court. 76-year-old Dr. Tai Kong-shing was arrested back in 2022. The police indicated Tai issued over 3,750 bogus COVID vaccination exemption certificates between the 10th of February and the 20th of September the same year. Chris L. Young, a merchant involved with the case, has also been charged with one count of accessing a computer with dishonest intent. The pair denied the charges. The prosecution says individuals who received the fraudulent exemption papers paid consultation fees ranging from $1,000 to $4,000, adding the monthly savings in Tai's bank account surged tenfold over the same period. The doctor has been charged with 3 counts of money laundering involving more than $10 million. The trial is set to last for 20 days. The PLA Navy vessels Nanning and Hengyang wrapped up their 5-day port call to Hong Kong and departed Monday morning. Chief Secretary for Administration Eric Chan says the visits and activities offer young people the chance to learn more about the nation's defense and military capabilities. Alina Wang has more.
It is the 2 warships' last day of visit, and the PLA Hong Kong garrison held a farewell ceremony for them. At Nong Shun Chau Barracks, the military band played ceremonial music, and soldiers waved goodbye. While aboard the vessels, sailors also lined the deck and waved back to the shore. Chief Secretary for Administration Eric Chan attended the ceremony and shook hands with the soldiers of the Nanning to bid them farewell. In his address, Chan says it is especially encouraging that the younger generation actively sees the opportunities to interact with the sailors aboard. At the barracks, passing rain showers failed to dampen the public's enthusiasm for seeing off the fleet.
Yes, it's meaningful, definitely, and I'm really proud of my country as like the equipment are all invented by our own country, and the reliable force guiding us fills me with a strong sense of security as a Hong Kong young.
The 5-day activity drew over 30,000 visitors from Hong Kong and Macau. Since Hong Kong's reunification, PLA Navy ships have been here multiple times, and this marks the 3rd consecutive year they dock in Hong Kong. Alina Wang, TVB News.
And that's the news. Thank you for watching.